I think during the whole history of Mandayans, um, the Mandayan priest plays always a central role in leading the community. They were always the center focus of the community and also the foreigners. So they are the leaders, basically. Mandayans, they didn't have straight structure, community structure, but it's based on the priesthood. They try to gather in a community, small or big communities, and the center is always the Mendi or the Beth Menda, the temple, and the priest. And that's become an important, I think, community center as well. I think this is not really accurate. And in the past, there were priests from many families, and this has been recorded in the Mandayan Zahars, which is the colophons, and we can follow up lineage of priests up to the 17th and 18th centuries. I did some work on that, and Professor Yoram Buckley did as well. What happened in 1831, in fact, after the cholera, most of the Mandayan pass away, and there are lay people who used to be like priest assistants before, Yahya Bahram and his cousin as well. So they try to revive the Mandayan priesthood, and because of many people pass away at that time, so there were like two major families, and they tried to consecrate many priests at that time, approximately more than 14. And since that, it continues. The problem is these two families compete with each other on certain time, in certain places, and they continue like from father to son, like before, even before the cholera. I believe there were one of the priests who was not from these two families, but in any case, this continued till I believe the 60s, where one of the Mandayan from a Zuhairi family, he's an old man, he got visions called Termida Salem. He got a vision, he's been taught by the divine forces, and he received a message to be a priest and to serve the community at that time. So he tried several priests to initiate him into the priesthood. They reject him at the beginning, so he went to the other family, which is from Ganzibra Zahrun's family, and they accept. Sheikh Najim, in fact, accept to consecrate him, but the one who did the initiation was Sheikh Abdullah Sheikh Najim, who accepted to do this on the behalf of his father. So from that point, there was one who, I think in the 60s, who just came from, not from these two families, from other families. But what happened in the 80s, in fact, is there were several priests who want to be, but for certain reasons, they tried to prevent them. I was one of them who's been ready to be initiated as a priest since 1977-78. I was ready to be a priest at that time. I was very young, but very I have strong belief and very active. I memorized all the books, especially the Colesta and the necessary sacred texts for the priesthood. But there was some kind of political issues within the community to prevent me from being a priest. And my aim was not to be a priest. I mean, the aim is to serve the community, and this is the purpose. I continue while we try to convince the head of the Mandayans later, who become the head of the community, Sheikh Abdullah, in 1981. So there was some kind of problems in that, and that problem continued like 12 years or more until he accepted to do so in 1991, 1991, yes. There is another part to be answered for your question, which is in the 90s. During my service to the community, my aim is to keep Mandaism and to keep the tradition and even the oral tradition. So I tried to revive Mandaism. In the 70s, I mean, the education was really, the education religious, let us say, was very limited and very, based on personal teachings, very poor, in a poor way. In 1980 in particular, there was a challenge for the community when the head of the Mandayans passed away, Ganzibra Abdullah, Ganzibra Sam, the father of Dr. Abdul Jabbar Abdullah. So he passed away, and after 6 months, his assistant priest, Termida Garib, the father of Ganzibra Fawzi now, and Termida Hamid, after less than 6 months, he also passed away. So there were, at that time, only 5 priests left. 1980, I think, only 5 priests left. 3 of them living in Amara city, Maysan. They are all of them Termida. There is no Ganzibra. 3 in Amara, 1 in Basra, Sheikh Abdullah, and 1, he's just been initiated, Ganzibra Fawzi, the son of Termida Garib. He was in Baghdad. So the community faced a challenge. Who would be the next head of the Mandayans? There were like a form of committee from lay people who tried to find out who is the suitable candidate for this position. At that time, it was really very difficult, and the Mandayan priests used to live a very simple life, especially in Amara city, because of the requirement and because of the background, educational background, and so on. Termida Fawzi was just young, and so the focus shifted to Basra, where Sheikh Abdullah was a Termida at that time, and he promised to do a reform, promised the community to do a serious reform and to help the community to be re-established. So he's been appointed, and he he moved to Baghdad. Later, I think he couldn't fulfill his promises or role because of certain issues, of course, and because of the influence of the Iraqi government as well. That was a period of time which is very hard for the whole community, and where the Iraq-Iran war started as well at the same time. So the things continued. Only 2 people being initiated, or 3 people being initiated. One is the son of Termida Abdullah. At that time, he was a Termida, then become his first Ganzibra. So he initiated his son, and Ganzibra Fawzi also been his brother, Termida Hamid, now in the Netherlands, both of them. So they are the first 2 to be initiated into priesthood from the same 2 families. Anyway. Then they initiated one from Zuhairi family, who's still living in Amara Maysan there. And everything being stopped until 1990. Then they initiated 2 other priests from different from these 2 or 3 families. One is Termida Salwan, who became Ganzibra later, from Kalmishi family, and one Termida Khalaf, who is living now in the state with the Ganzibra Fawzi. So he's from Khemisi family. So they initiated these 2 priests in 90. Most of the priests who are existing today, they are either to be my students or my disciples, or the students of my students, despite of my early age at that time. So I tried to do something different. In 1991, I've been initiated, and that was the biggest initiation ceremony ever took place to the present day in the Mandaean history. Every day, people attend approximately 18 to 20,000 every night, attend that ceremony for 7 days or 8 days.
How many?
Only one, just only myself, been initiated by Risham Abdullah. And later, I tried to revive the Mandaean priesthood, because I tried to convince the head of the community to initiate more, and there was always political aspect within the community. So then there was a big stage in the Mandaean modern history, and in particular with the Mandaean priesthood. That is, I initiated 5 Mandaean priests in a secret way, or semi-secret way. What we did, I tried to establish a school, and I selected several novices, and I tried to initiate them, but I couldn't. Then what happened, I tried to build a Beth Mendi so I can later complete the initiation ceremonies. We tried once to establish the initiation, then suddenly I've been captured by the Iraqi intelligence for certain reasons. I think they will follow me up. So I nearly been killed. So I tried to delay everything later, after everything calmed down. Then in 1995, in Panja, the Parunai days, before that I built 2 Mendis, and there is one extra hidden. I trained 3 generations from the 70s to the present day, even sometimes 3-4 generations of Mandaean people and Mandaean priests and their novices. And that gave me a very special experience. I suffered a lot in the past, in Iraq and even when I've been here. During this training things for others, try to convey a message to them and to the world that Mandaism is a valuable thing that we have to keep and we have to understand. And it's a way of surviving. And during the training, especially in the 1995, when we faced that kind of challenging in the Mandaean priesthood, nobody is, initiated and nobody allowed into the priesthood. There are certain kind of difficulties, serious difficulties. This is in addition to the difficulties with the government itself. So I took that initiative and trained novices and initiated priests. I have many other ones, but try to at least do the beginning. And I succeed with the assistance of another Termida, an old one called Termida Salim, who's supporting me in this. But after I completed the training of approximately 16 of my disciples, I started with 5 of them who's already initiated. I initiated them into priesthood. I mean, one of them is the head of the Mandaean community nowadays.
Yes.
Risham Sattar. And the other one is Termida Karim. The other one is Termida Khairallah, Termida Bassam, and Termida Salam, Sheikh Chithir in Iraq. Also, there are many who've been, because I left Iraq, they've been initiated by other priests. So what I did is just to break through that kind of boundary and let the gate of priesthood open to everyone. And this is how everything is started and continue to the present day. We are bringing priests from every family, from anyone who loves the religion, who loves to serve others. We try to train them. So I've been involved in a direct or indirect training for many priests, and the fruit of that is the large number of the Mandaean priests who are present to the present day.